Lord Jesus Christ, according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord Christ.
Now all the tax collectors and sinners were coming near to listen to Jesus. The Pharisees and the scribes were grumbling, saying, "This fellow welcomes sinners and eats with them." So he told them this parable. Jesus said, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger of them said to his father, 'Father, give me the share of the property that will belong to me.' So he divided his property between them. A few days later, the younger son gathered all he had and traveled to a distant country, and there he squandered his property.
Adolescent rebellion, sibling rivalry, dissipation, foolish living, jealousy, regret, despair, hope, homecoming, and restoration. It's all there. It could be a TV miniseries starring Rob Lowe, although Rob Lowe's getting a little old now. But it could be. It would no doubt focus on Rob splitting town with his early inheritance and living it up big in the city, living in the fast lane until he finds himself alone in a gutter, probably on drugs or something. I think this movie has been made 1,000 times, actually. People call it the story of the prodigal son. The son that finds himself by coming to the end of his rope. The story about hitting rock bottom and discovering something of the substance of who you are and really what life is about. Yes, Hollywood has gotten a lot of mileage out of it. The prodigal son has been told 1,000 times in 1,000 different ways, and it seems yet to never fail to resonate. But in truth, this story is not the story of a prodigal son. To call this story the story of the prodigal son is to miss something essential about its character. Prodigal simply means wastefully extravagant. And this story is not really about a wastefully extravagant son who returns home. It's about a father. It's about a father who has 2 sons. Brothers seemingly very, very different. The narrative is gripping. It's gripping because the brothers and the choices that they make cut to the heart of a spiritual struggle that most of us wrestle with at different points in our lives. And that is identity. Not just in some youthful, angsty way, but deeper than that. Who do we belong to? What are our responsibilities? And maybe what are our rights? What are our just deserts for being who we are? It's the story of not one lost son, but 2. And they are fundamentally the same. 2 roads diverged in a wood and each went their own way, kind of like in a Robert Frost poem. Together, they stand on either side of the Father as icons. They each embody an aspect of the divide in our character and in our soul and even in our society. They're like the battling identities of liberal versus conservative, rich or poor, privileged versus self-proclaimed disenfranchised. You name it. They're the dutiful and the train wreck. And just when we think we know which is which, the parable surprises us. These brothers appear to be so very, very different. But are they not the same? The older brother wanted the same kind of revelry and party that his younger brother got. But maybe because of his position as the older brother, or maybe because he lacked the guts, he didn't ask for his inheritance. and he didn't try to leave. But the state of their heart was the same. The narrative is also gripping because of who the Father is, because of what he did and what he did not do. When the younger son came to him and insulted him by asking for his inheritance early, a full third of what the father owned, I might add, would be the customary amount. The father just gave it to him and let him go. This is not the way of any self-respecting father, particularly not a man of wealth and stature. But what his neighbors and relatives say about him? Is he such a pushover that he can't keep his family together? Cannot command the respect of his sons? A self-respecting father would say, go ahead and go, but you're not getting a dime of my money, and don't try to come back and collect when I die. But this is not what the father says. This father's love borders on crazy. When his son returned, when he was a mere profile on the horizon, this father went out to welcome him, put sandals on his feet, a robe on his shoulders, and most importantly, a ring on his finger. The ring symbolized sonship. And here's the scandalous part. The scandalous part is that sonship had not been restored. It had never been taken away. The ring was there waiting for him. No wonder the older brother was seething mad, but he was mad because his little brother seemed to have gotten away with the biggest scam in history. He got his cake and he got to eat it too. But the father moved to the older son. And what was the first thing he said to that one? My son. Sonship again. The father in this story is the linchpin. He stands between the younger and the older and offers them the same thing. Everything that he has. The party being thrown that day was neither the older son's nor the younger's. That was the father's party.